This pilot secretly mixes a large amount of alcohol into orange juice and drinks it before every flight. Then, right after the plane took off, he'd lie down and fall asleep. When the newly appointed deputy director saw this scene, he was stunned, but the flight attendant just smiled and said, "This isn't the first time he's flown like this." Just then, the control tower informed them to lower the plane's altitude. However, as soon as the co-pilot started to execute the order, in an instant, there was an accident with the elevator. The entire plane began shaking violently, and the pilot was jolted awake. At first, he thought they had just encountered some air turbulence, but the next second, the plane started plummeting straight down towards the ground. They quickly pulled at the control stick, trying to lift the plane back up, but the plane didn't respond at all. The control stick was completely out of control. In just a dozen seconds, the plane dropped from an altitude of over 10,000 meters to just a few thousand meters. To lighten the plane's weight, they lowered the landing gear and released all the aviation fuel. All the passengers assumed a brace position. The nearest airport was still very far away, and they had no way to control the plane's forward movement. They could only attempt a forced landing on the ground. The plane, now without drag, started hurtling downward at high speed. The pilot tried every possible way to stop it. Eventually, with the help of the purser, he switched the plane to manual control. However, just as the plane started to climb a little, the control stick suddenly snapped back. A flight attendant who wasn't wearing a seatbelt was knocked unconscious on the spot. At this point, the plane was only 2,100 meters from the ground, and the houses below were clearly visible. The co-pilot was almost scared out of his wits, although the pilot was drunk. His mind was extremely clear at this moment. He made a decision that no one else dared to make. He turned the steering wheel all the way, retracted the flaps, opened the speed brakes, and pushed the power to the maximum. Managed to maintain its altitude for a while. There was still one flight attendant in the cabin. She slowly climbed onto the ceiling of the aisle, picked up the child, and carried them back to their seat, then buckled the seatbelt. Now, the plane's engine was on fire, and they couldn't glide to the airport anymore. Fortunately, the pilot spotted an open field ahead. It was the only hope for all of them. He spun the plane again and opened all the flaps. Although the plane turned back upright, it completely lost power. The warning started when they were 300 meters from the ground. The plane gradually glided downward. Below them was a church. The pilot tried to control the direction, but still hit the church with one of the wings. Brace! Brace for impact! Thankfully, the pilot had drained the aviation fuel in advance, so the plane didn't explode. When he woke up again, he was lying in a hospital bed. At that moment, the TV was reporting on the plane crash. There were a total of 102 people on the plane, eventually. Under the pilot's skillful control, the death toll was only 6, 2 crew members and 4 passengers. As a result, the media started reporting extensively, hailing the pilot as a national hero.